Follow all safety practices when welding to prevent injuries. Always wear proper protective clothing and equipment. This includes a welding hood with a tinted lens, protective leather and/or flame-retardant clothing, welding gloves, high-top safety boots with laces covered by a pant leg, a 100% cotton cap with no mesh and the bill pointed toward the rear, and earmuffs or earplugs. Also, take fire and explosion prevention measures. Do not carry matches, lighters, or vapes. Move or shield any flammable materials in the work area. Do not use oxygen as compressed air to remove dust from clothing. Keep a clean work area, and follow all safety guidelines when cutting containers. Work area ventilation is another critical safety measure. Follow confined space procedures. Do not use oxygen for ventilation. For long-term welding or cutting, use an approved full-face supplied air respirator. For short-term exposure, use a high-efficiency particulate arresting or HEPA-rated or metal fume filter on a standard respirator. Whenever possible, use powered extraction systems. GMAW, or gas metal arc welding, is also referred to as MIG welding. It utilizes an electric arc to generate an intense heat of 6,000 to 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The arc is used to melt a consumable wire electrode and fuse it with the base metal. The shielding gas stabilizes the arc and protects the filler and base metals from oxidation. The wire is automatically fed into the weld puddle as it melts. GMAW uses 4 main metal transfer modes to move the filler metal to the molten weld pool. Select each button to learn more. In the spray transfer mode, the high heat of the arc melts the electrode and fine droplets are carried to the weld puddle on the base metal. In the globular transfer mode, because of its weight, the electrode wire tip periodically melts off in a large glob. The arc carries this globule to the workpiece where it mixes with the weld puddle. In short-circuiting transfer, the wire electrode is fed against the workpiece. When the metal is heated enough, a droplet separates and mixes with the weld puddle. An arc forms when the droplet separates, but is closed by the continuously feeding wire. In pulsed transfer welding, the welding current is generated in pulses of high current at specified time intervals. Between each pulse, the welding current is reduced but is still kept at a high enough level to keep the wire heated and an arc established. At each pulse, a single drop of molten metal separates from the wire and transfers across the arc to form the molten puddle on the base metal. FCAW, or flux core arc welding, is also known as flux core welding. The process creates a weld pool when the electric arc melts a flux core wire electrode, fusing it with the base metal. The wire is hollow, allowing a flux material to be inserted inside the electrode. The FCAW metal transfer process uses an electric arc to melt the filler and base metals and transfer fine droplets of filler metal to the weld puddle. Globular transfer is commonly used in the FCAW processes, but axial spray can be achieved if the correct electrode and shielding gas is used. GMAW and FCAW systems typically consist of the following pieces of equipment. Select each button to learn more. Direct current power sources, also known as welding machines, usually produce constant current or constant voltage DC power. GMAW and FCAW machines typically use constant voltage DC power, which maintains a constant voltage as the output current changes. There are different types of welding machines. A transformer rectifier welding machine uses a transformer to convert the primary current to welding current. The rectifier changes the current from AC to DC. Engine-driven welding machines can be powered by gas or diesel engines. A generator produces the power needed for the welding machine. These generators are portable and can be used when electricity isn't available. Inverter welding machines increase the frequency of the incoming primary power. This provides a smaller, lighter power source with a faster response time and more control for pulse welding. Wire feeders pull the electrode wire from a spool and push it through the gun cable and the gun. The feed is made of a wire spool holder with a drag brake, an electric motor that drives one or two sets of opposing slotted rollers, and other various controls. If shielding gas is needed, the wire feeder also houses the gas connections, the gas-controlled solenoid, and, if needed, a cooling water flow control solenoid. The guns used in GMAW and FCAW are designed to guide the wire electrode and provide the electrical contact between the wire and the welding machine electrode. The trigger starts and stops the welding current and the shielding gas flow. The tip of the gun has a nozzle to direct the shielding gas around the arc. In the nozzle, the wire passes through a contact tip that provides the connection between the welding current and the electrode wire. The chart below shows the effect of different shielding gases on the welding arc. Shielding gases prevent the contamination of the weld puddle by displacing the atmospheric oxygen, nitrogen, and moisture. Argon, helium, and carbon dioxide are the most common gases used and are often mixed in various proportions for specific applications. For safety and efficiency, welding equipment must be set up properly. Begin by selecting the type of welding machine you need, either GMAW or FCAW. Make sure the power, current, and amperage requirements are met. Then, position the equipment so that it is accessible but protected. There should be good air circulation and the environment should be free of dust, dirt, and explosive or corrosive fumes. Next, connect the shielding gas. Place the cylinder of gas near the wire feeder and secure it so it won't fall over. Remove the protective cap and open the valve slightly to blow out any dirt, then close it. Install the regulator and connect the gas hose. Slowly crack open the cylinder valve, then open it completely. After that, select and install the electrode wire. Then place the workpiece clamp properly to prevent damage to surrounding equipment. Finally, energize the power source by plugging it into an electrical outlet or engine-driven generator.